Show the lens. Show the lens. This is
Only from mobile phone download. Oh, taking
1%. 1%.
oh one the other phone. Mom, my phone. It's a flat. No.
So to our okay,
Are you presenting?
The one in
no, clear up, hit any show you for my
sorry. Any Android phone. Bluetooth.
Laptop.
This is the video. This is the video. I send a song on it. You can forward it to your WhatsApp.
WhatsApp, no, you play that with WhatsApp. You want to see if you can transfer it to this computer. Through Bluetooth. But no, you have to download it first. I download the link. What time is on? Download the link. What the issue? Then you have to download it first. Then we'll file it. File. Get this shit before now. It's only phone. The clear. How about you download it? Can you site below? YouTube below and Facebook. Download. Oh no, mo ti ń wò yìí, mo ti bá wọn gbìyànjú for kan sìn. Kó ló bá ṣe. Ó fẹ́ ṣe download sí àwọn ti download bí a ó lè ṣe bí a ó lè gbọ́. Àwọn èmi máa ń ṣe download lórí àbí òkú ṣe download.
Nǹkan tèmi náà ṣe download. But expert báyìí máa ń lè.
Expert. Tí wọ́n ṣe ń ṣe ni wọ́n ṣe tí wọ́n ṣe ń ṣe. Ṣé ẹ̀rí download náà? Mo ń tọ́ láti download. Yes, we can start. Yes, for everything is set. We are online right now.
Okay. Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the second session of our panel. And I think we are going to have more members in this because the first panel, only 2 members attended. I mean, of the presenters were here, and then at least for those who were here, we had fun. We had fun because we had a lot of very useful discussions, which made it lively. So hopefully now that we have more people in attendance, more managers with less members. Hopefully we have very lively panel. So we have on our panel, we have 2 presenters. From Lagos State University, so the both of them will be presenting on the use of language and verbal, verbally selected skills of Bali, Wasabi. Personally looking forward to that, starting on the line for service skills. I'm not very familiar with them, so hearing about them very great. And then I will be presenting On the title of my presentation, I do more making sense of abnormal situations through drama skits. That's by Mr. Makaudi. Of course, then it's also present the Dr. Daniel Monati who will present on performance in power, objectification, and objectification of women, a reflection of gender inequality in Nigeria. And of course, the last presenter is not going to appear. Please, for those who have called me, don't let me be alone here. I don't. Right. So, again, what we are going to do, I think we're going to have 15 minutes each for the presenter, and then we would get this filled out with one of the three to research your question, please to speak here. Till the end of the presentation. So that way we know we are done with the presentation. Take note of your questions, and then you'll be asked, you ask whoever you'd like to engage. Okay, so I think that is it. We will now have a first presenter. The time is 3:49. You can go on.
Yeah.
Okay, you're still trying to fix that.
Well, okay, you are the first presenter. Yes,
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We're talking about use of language and verbal juggling, latest clips of lying, WhatsApp. So I will put together with my colleague and the first university. That will also say that it's a work in progress. Like shifts, we can get further inputs from various colleagues here. We'll start by playing a video. Yes. Unfortunately, when you download it, was said that we can listen to the voice. The microphone.
The microphone?
Close to me. Or
It's picking your voice. Yeah, speaking it. Bring the phone.
start from there.
If you go to school to get a degree in science, you become a bachelor of science. Life is a plot twist like that. You can know book and be doing bookings for who don't know book. There's a Latin expression that says Atije Atimu Lambaka. Atije Atimu Lambaka. Mr. Richard, why can't I say a Latin expression now? It's Mr. Latin that expresses himself in that. They told you to prepare peace, give it time to cook. You want that time to see. Don't tell you the police came to my compound. They said they are looking for someone that's doing heroin. Yoruba newscaster came out. She said it's me that's doing heroin. You cannot understand simple sentence. Now you are doing prison sentence. Inability to understand instruction will lead to destruction. Let me leave you with this, sir. In English language, there's what they call mobility of adverbia. Mobility of adverbia refers to the capacity of an adverb to function from various positions in the same sentence. Look at this. Fearfully is an adverb. The boy kicked the ball fearfully. Put it in the front. Fearfully, the boy kicked the ball. Put it in the middle. The boy fearfully kicks the ball. At every position, the word remains functional and the sentence doesn't lose meaning. Sir, in 2025, be an adverbia. No matter the position life puts you, remain functional. Oh my God. So last year I was charging 50,000 for GNCC class. This year, if you cannot give me 150,000.
You can just speak to it. Just from summarize what's right?
This paper does a close analysis of select skits of lying wasabi. So simply we're looking at the linguistic devices was there. Precisely lexical innovation, code switching, witty sayings that create humorous and thought-provoking performance. The skit is able to project or reflect contemporary Nigerian society. And in particular, we're going to look at his choice, his use of language, and his ability to twist words to have specific effects. That's lying wasabi there. His name is Isaac Olayiwola, but he's better known as Lai Wasabi, the Nigerian skit maker, and is now an actor. He was born on the 11th July 1998, and he holds a degree in law from Bowen University. He's well known for his skits that typically between 60 and 90 seconds long, which are a prime example of the trend towards short-form content on platforms like TikTok and Instagram. In 2024, he won the award for the best content creator at the Africa Magic Viewers Choice Awards. So specifically, when we're talking about verbal juggling in this context, it refers to the skillful and often playful manipulation of language to achieve comedic and thematic objectives. Lai Wasabi is well known to demonstrate a profound understanding of language as a dynamic tool to convey his information. For our methodology, what we did was that we downloaded some of his skits, like 4 of them, from YouTube, and we sampled them and transcribed. We identified some legacy on this. In that particular, there's a particular skit where he was talking about, he used the word atije. He said, atije, atimu, lambaka. And that is Latin. He said that's a Latin word. That said, okay, he said that's Latin word. Then I said atije, atimu, lambaka. Then he said it's a Latin word because it was said by Mr. Latin. Atije Atimulambaka means that we were moving about, we're struggling to make ends meet. So I was able to twist his words to create a comic situation. You know, when you first of all hear the way he pronounced it, Atije Atimulambaka, so that was a Latin word. They now went to give the Yoruba interpretation. Related to some of the skits, what he does is to try and sell his wares, you know, because he has become popular. People do advertise through him. So of course, it's Atije Atimu that's really about to do. One other thing that we also noticed about him is the ability to create comedy, to create fun, and which will make people, you know, nobody wants to waste his or her data nowadays. If you look at the skits, you're viewing the skits and you listen to such usages, such sayings that may get one motivated. And apart from that, he's also selling his wares, making the people that have already keyed into his business to project their messages. Beyond that, is also making us realize that a typical Nigerian goes about trying to make ends meet. One other thing we also want to talk about, Lai Wasabi, is able to blend different languages to create information. For example, you know, I think it was in 2024 when Nigeria lost to Cote d'Ivoire. So there was this particular skit that he projected. It was a policeman there, and in a particular vehicle, there was a driver who needed to renew his documents. Okay, and the passenger was from Cote d'Ivoire. So suddenly he stopped the vehicle. Let me see your documents. Oh, your documents have expired. Case 1. Then he said, who is this lady seated by you? Then the person was not speaking French to him. He said, are you from Republic of Benin? He said, no, I'm from Cote d'Ivoire. Then he also spoke his own French. And I said, case number 2. That's it, that because they want Nigerians. So we're saying that every formation to be able to capture events, things that are happening in the country at a particular time. He is also able to, he does a lot of repetition. I have something here. Okay, there was a time it says in a particular skit titled Financial Independence, it said, when you are broke and heartbroken, take it as an avenue for breakthrough and not breakdown. It's playing on those words, broke, broken, breakthrough, and breakdown. At another time, he said, any matrimony without money is a maltreatment. You can see the play on words, matrimony, money, and then maltreatment. He also said at the stage, an X that doesn't meet our expectation is an experiment. So the X and the X and the X. So there's a way he juggles his words. I think he's a master in that particular act. And what do they all do? They create comedy, they create fun, they make people more interested in his work, and they also serve as a form of social commentary. If you look at that particular saying, an X that doesn't meet our expectation is an experiment. An experiment. Typically, if the person doesn't meet maybe the ladies or the man's expectations, just an experiment. So it's talking had to beg money to buy formula. So what's playing on that particular word? He also says, I know you are not a millionaire, but your millions are near. You are not a millionaire, but your millions are near. He also, at the time he said, in his success mentality, it says, my maths teacher is in custody. I want somebody to bail him out. With all the 4-figure table in his head, he cannot figure it out. So with all the 4-figure table in his head, he cannot figure it. So I think he has really mastered the art of juggling words. 1, to create comedy. 2, to convey information. 3, like a social critique. And also, of course, to sell his wares. So in general, we've noticed that Layo Wasabi is testament to the power and versatility of language in comedic performance. He uses innovative lexical choices. He elevates his humor beyond simple punchline, and is able to elicit laughter from his audience. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As I mentioned earlier, again, if you have questions, please just write them down, and we'll have time for questions and answer later. So the next presenter is I am myself. So I guess
3 in 1.
in 3 1.
Me, myself, and I.
Yeah, so at least one has to change the design in this whole two. And about okay. So the title of my presentation is slightly different from what we had in the program. So the title of my presentation is Skits as common sense response to abnormal situations in the Nigerian state. Skits as common sense response to Nigerian situation in the Nigerian state. So what is skits? I'm still reading. My stuff is supposed to be sure.
Yes, we're experiencing connection problem at the moment, but we are trying to fix that so we can download the slides. But you can go ahead while we do that.
So skit is a very common feature in the Nigerian digital space. I mean, I'm sure everybody in this class would feel guilty to having seen one, or I mean, some like a few of us would actually say we see it all the time. So it's one of those forms of art that intrude on our privacy. I mentioned this in our last session. They literally confront us when we venture into the digital space. The most annoying thing for those inclined to the art is that most of the skits are irresistible. You want to be able to give, say, okay, let me just look at it, and then of course you just continue. So they can be difficult to ignore. And well, I can hardly ignore them. So and I think my fascination with skits is one of the reasons why I'm making this presentation. Now, I'll get to, I have a theoretical framework, and then I'll make use of, I think, two of, Professor Tejumola Lanio's his theories. One, I think, I would say, the theory. The other, is one of his writings. Although time will not permit me to go thoroughly into this, but I will sketch those theories and use it to analyze the truth of things, known as Mr. Aruni. And I think Mr. Macaroni is one of the very famous thinkers. So the theory that is common sense. So what is common sense? Tejumola Alani formulated the theory of common sense in his reading of a selection of Femi Oshabisan's play. According to Tejumola Alani, common sense, quotes, represents a discriminating analytical perception produced by reflection on reflection. A second order metacritical contemplation, a discourse on discourse. So basically what he's saying, the common sense does not occur in a vacuum. It engages extant discourse and attempts to transcend it. I think Umiraji, writing on Tejumola's work, explained it this way. He said, in this case, the original discourse, which represents target of the uncommon sense, is common sense. And I mean, common sense, we always, it's an expression that most of us are familiar with, that person doesn't have common sense. And when you look at it, I think Tejumola Alani's argument is common sense, after all, it's not so common. When we wake up, you brush your teeth, you assume that, well, it's common sense to brush, right? I mean, for those who are not exposed to that, who use their twisting, when, seeing you, brushing would appear weird to them. A lot of what we do, according to Afusa, are part of what he calls ideological state apparatus. What we are used to, what we've been fed with since we were born, they become part of our life. And then when they become part of our life, we see them as common sense. We see them as normal. But then, to those who are not familiar, they become something abnormal. So here is how Gramsci, according to Gramsci, actually, Tejumola engages with the work of Antonio Gramsci. And, according to Gramsci, common sense is ideological. In other words, it's not common, as many people think. Here is how Gramsci defines common sense. He calls it the incoherent set of generally held assumptions and beliefs common to any given society. In Yoruba, it's commonsensical for a younger one to caution to an elder. But of course, if you go to certain part of the country, they see that why are these people always, lying down or so? To them, it's not normal. In some part of the country, it's commonsensical to kneel down. And then, of course, in Yoruba land, it's only female that are supposed to kneel down by the male life class. So again, common sense relates to what cultural hegemony. It walks through cultural hegemony, which it defined as unreflective method of comprehension comprehending the world that many sees as the norm. Now, this is what Tejumola, why he posing this argument is saying, when you see the world at this place, you are regarded as someone who has common sense. But he argues that in order to liberate people, to make you actually examine things critically, that the only way of countering common sense ideology is the ideology of uncommon sense. In other words, you do something that is unusual, something that we don't see as common. In some cases, I think I remember when we went to secondary school, those seniors that were always punished, in most cases, they have not done anything wrong. It's because they argue. It's because they posit a different way of looking at things. And because they do that, they are down, they are termed rebels. And of course, in history, we've been going to those, one philosopher said, the reasonable person conforms to the world, but the unreasonable person makes the world conform to them. And that the progress of the world depends on the unreasonable. So again, those who don't accept and they do things differently, and then they are seen differently. So now in another paper, in another writing of Tejumola, he wrote about what he describes as the post-colonial incredible. Basically, what this means is, the unbelievable realities that describe the world of post-colony, a world that elicited responses from different aspects. The post-colonial incredible, the way Teju defines it is that because it says the incredible, describes that which cannot be believed, what is too improbable, astonishing, and extraordinary to admit of belief. Things that happen, you're thinking, is this real? And of course, the interesting thing is that Nigeria, our reality actually sounds incredible to other parts of Africa. I remember in those days when we used to go to Ghana, I used to work at NTA College. We would produce programs. We normally would win the first prize at drama. And I'm sure if you travel, if you're familiar with African countries, most of Nigerian drama, they wonder. They say, how do you get these stories? And if drama is a reflection of reality, we're writing about our experiences. So this is part of what Tejumola called the post-colonial incredible. Now, how are these related to Mr. Macaroni's work? Well, what Mr. Macaroni does in his skits is actually address certain problems, certain challenges in Nigeria that, again, have become what we call, that at times are not believable. And that, and that's why I'm talking about common sense. It's common sense for certain things to happen in these skits. He addresses certain things that happen within society, the way men deal with. I'm just running through. Okay, so skits. Let's go to Mr. Macaroni's skits. Mr. Macaroni, of course, they both he's a skit maker. I believe one of the most famous one in Nigeria. He's a graduate of drama and theater. And according to Connie, in my interview with him, he said, I attended four different universities. At one time or the other, we were rusticated, which I think is as a result of his non-conformism. So when there's an argument, in fact, when he finally graduated, it was after he became famous that the university said, okay, come now, we can give you your certificate, because he was not given his diploma. So now his skills are informed by the realities in contemporary Nigerian society. So he writes, as a dramatist, he's conscious of satire, lampooning, and what drama can do to change things. When he started creating kids, when he graduated, he couldn't get a job, he couldn't get performing roles, and then he resisted. A lot of people say go into Skits, and he said, I don't want to do it because Skits is not what I went to university to study. And after a lot of resistance, he agreed and then put one out there. It wasn't very successful, but then something happened. The younger sister came one day and said, oh, that stupid old man, excuse my language, because harassing me, he wanted to go out with me, and this is what he usually does. And that was when it clicked. Then Mr. Macaroni now said, well, let me model someone after this. That was how he started, he skit Mr. Macaroni and created Mommy One. And when he made the first one, it went viral. A lot of people started talking to him, and of course, the rest, is history. So, but then the trace of Mommy One is about this old man who meets a girl, who is always after them. And then, of course, a lot of people complain because, the girls were the starting kind of thing, and then the man is immoral. But then, the problem is this guy is self-conscious about ridiculing. So he makes the man go after them. At the end of the day, the old man is always a loser. So he would invest money, and then the girls who are supposed to be objectified, they end up winning because they play along, and in the long run, they disappoint. So basically, what he's doing is that he's looking at society, the immoralities, all the things that is happening in the world of, again, what we want to start as the post-colonial incredible, where women are supposed to be objects of their sexual objects and so on. But then it creates a situation where they win and not lose. And then the second skill he created was 2 minutes more. Okay. The second skill he created was Professor Hardline. Professor Hardline was modeled after one of his teachers. And according to him, this teacher wasn't as bad as what he created, but of course, art exaggerates. But what I want us to take away from this is that all his creativity, all he created, they are from experiences, from real life, and then of course they expose a lot of things. Now, I would like to end with one quotation, from my interview with him. He said, and I quote, "The raw materials of my skits are what happened in society. Basically, society feeds me. My duty as a thespian is to show decadence and ridicule. The audience wants to laugh. You must be able to make them laugh at their own folly. So the corrupt, you talked about the folly of the characters, the corrupt old men, the wicked teachers, and the unruly students. And why the unruly students? One of the questions I asked him was, but in this your program, some of the students are bad. He said, yes, I'm not giving them free rein. What I want to do is expose them, so for society to now see who they are and judge them. And again, maybe during the question and answer session, if there are any areas where you want me to expatiate on, I will be able to do that. Thank you very much. So the third person on our list, sorry, the third person again, sorry, okay. So the first person on our list is okay. So we have Dr. Daniel Olajude of the Redeemed Christian Bible College. Okay. All right. So please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. I think I can share also.
Okay, yes.
Okay. Robert introduced me already. The title of my presentation is Performance of Power, Objectification and Commodification of Women. A reflection of gender inequality in Nigeria is the question. 3-4 decades ago, I was much more younger than I am now. And our grandparents would make us converge at some spaces and they would narrate stories to us. A few years after that, we moved from that traditional media, that oral media, to the mass media, analog, because we had access to some black and white televisions around. So from traditional, which we call oral media, to analog mass media. And a few years after then, we are here, digital media. And I realized that the stories that our parents, our grandparents narrated to us then, we don't have many of them narrating those stories anymore. So the skit makers seem to have taken their place. Now I went back, is a qualitative method. I believe that qualitative method is a better resource. It will be better for me to go to qualitative than quantitative. So I used content analysis. I picked about 10 of Mr. Macaroni skits, and I looked at 3 of them shared that. Going to the discussion now, objectification and commodification of women and power performance of men in selected episodes of Mr. Macaroni's skits. The first among the 3 that I want, because of time, we can't discuss all of them. I'll just talk about 3 of them. The first among the 3 is Dadiwa and Susie. Dadiwa, that's Mr. Macaroni. And Susie, Dadiwa saw Susie. And he looked at her. And I think what he saw, or maybe who he saw, or what he saw, because he objectified her. So that's the reason I said that was why I said what instead of who. So he objectified her and he wanted to go out with her. But along the line, he approached her, and according to Daddy was said, when we see pretty ladies like you, we try to let you know that we men are there to help you in the society. And Susie said, then he asked Susie, what is your name? Susie said, my name is Susie. And Daddy was said, let me see your parosi. So we can go to Perry Bank in my jacuzzi. I promise to be loyal to your royal majesty. And Susie said, what is that? You are so funny. Even if he had not solved Susie's problem, he made her laugh rather. So at least he was able to calm her down. And after some time, he rendered the first service to her by trying to calm her down. Then he introduced Susie to Easy Homes. That was Albert. He introduced her to Easy Homes. And funny enough, Susie conspired with Daddy was best friend, Otumba. And they played him out of the game. So you now ask yourself, who was objectified? Who was used here? Because when we say they objectify and commodify women, we are saying that they limit them and possibly use them like ordinary objects. But in this case, you can ask the question again, who was used? The second one, skit. Onilara versus Dadiwa. It was just a 7 minutes long skit. The dialogue. A lady called Uchi greeted Dadiwa, trying to kneel him, and she said, good afternoon, sir. That Dadiwa said, he said, I have never beseeched such a beauty. Don't stay your legs. You are the one causing the heat in Nigeria. No wonder everywhere we turn is hot, because you are here and you are hot. Then he said, what is your name? Uche said, my name is Uche, sir. That you are spoke in Yoruba language. He said, Oshe Uche, fresh like Tatashi, no be akuchi. Ṣé o máa fún mi ṣe kí a jọ ṣe ara wa léṣe? So beautiful. So beautiful. Put your account number here. The daddy said, I just transferred 402,000 naira to you. And after some time, Uche thought, this is good enough for me. But before they left that place, Onilara Obelara came. And while Dadiwa was expecting Uche to pay him back with a romantic exchange, Onilara Obelara appeared on the scene and declared in the Yoruba language, Ojema she ìṣekúṣe, olówó ló lè ṣe. Meaning, don't buy more than you can. Don't make a mistake. Do not buy more than you can chew. This commodity is for the rich. Dadiwa's reaction showed that he himself and Onilara they had some previous competitions, and that was the look on his face, and he said, "This man, you are here, it is something like that." Then Onilara requested from Uche that how much did he give you? And Uche said 402,000 naira. I said, to buy slippers of clothes. And he transferred 5 million naira to Uche immediately. Then Dadiwa was like, 5 million. He said, I will double whatever you give her. And he doubled 402,000 naira. He gave her 804,000 naira. And the lady said, I thought you were going to double the 5 million. Yeah. And he said, no, I doubled what I did, not what he did. So the non man said, Onilara said, don't worry. He doubled the 5 million, gave Uche 10 million naira. And that was how he won the battle. They taught scripts. They taught scripts. Battle in the office. You have Dadiwa Macaroni. Mr. Macaroni was someone who had been objectifying and doing businesses with ladies. This beautiful day, the one he said he had changed. And he was in the office. The first lady came, dressed also in a very funny way. And Dadiwa said no to her. The second one came, Dadiwa said no to her. The third one came, and Dadiwa said no to her. Now, Otumba was disappointed that he sent the three, Mr. Macaroni sent the three ladies out of his office, Victoria and Sophia, out of his office because of Gomiwa. And he said, Otumba, he said, you sent these three beautiful ladies out because of that old candle at home. That's another objectification, objectifying his wife. And Dadiwa, in this case, was very furious. He was furious. He asked his friend, Otumba, to stop insulting his wife. This implies that Dadiwa had experienced social change. So we can say that he had actually stopped that act. Yeah. Now, Nollywood, that's another subject, but time will not allow us to go into that. So let me just go to the question that I want to ask. Objectification and commodification of women, a reflection of gender inequality. Dadiwa, Uche, and the rest of them. Okay, thus, Uche's account was credited. Uche's account was credited with 10,804,000 naira. 804,000 naira from Mr. Macaroni and 10 million naira from Onilara. So you will ask yourself, who was used in this case? Uche, the woman who we thought was objectified and was also modified processes. She was the beneficiary of the financial processes because in that transaction, according to Ojebode, she got, because Ojebode called this transaction, so she got 10,804,000 naira credit, while Dadiwa and Onilara's accounts were debited. Uche's account was at the receiving end. However, the narrator did not reveal to the viewers whether Onilara got services he paid for, or if Uche offered more than she bargained for. Thus, the objectification and commodification of women by Nigeria's skit makers may not be an act of solidifying or a confirmation of gender imbalance in the Nollywood community and Nigeria as a whole. Perhaps it is a show of the belief that there is a need to value beautiful women, and if you must have them, you must pay so they can maintain their beauty. Conclusion. The findings of this study we are not done actually totally, but maybe I'm just thinking that with what we've said already, that we can say that there are Nollywood films, especially skits, that seemingly objectify women and they place prices on these women at times. In some cases, men show their social, political, and financial strength by pricing the worth of women's bodies using the strength. However, it seems women have joined men to objectify, commodify, and show power to others via what they do with their bodies. There are claims that some women change their body structure because they believe in what they think will be attractive to men who are willing to offer them money for their bodies. Thank you.
All right, I think so that's it. We still have some time. Happy to take your questions. Thank you very much. So who is going to throw the first one? Please speak louder, sir.
Thank you so much. My name is Charles. The presenters sincerely I enjoyed all the presentations. Though that I am a bit confused when the last speaker spoke about the issue of oral media, and then still went ahead to say traditional media. I'd like you to throw more light on or the definition of oral media / traditional media. And then secondly, your summation about the objectification and commodification of feminine gender is something I feel I've read so much, some of the scholarship publications about Nollywood. For me, it may not be a strong contribution to knowledge. These are two aspects of that.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Okay, so next question again, we'll probably take a question or just respond to that before we continue. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. For me, there are 4 communication skills: writing, reading, speaking, and listening. And 2 are receptive, 2 are expressive. Writing and speaking are expressive. Reading and listening are receptive. When we talk about oral communication, we are talking about any communication that has to do with
oral media. Oral media.
Oral media.
Yes.
Oral communication.
Okay. I know the difference between oral communication and oral media. Looking at you mentioned oral media.
Okay. Okay. Traditional media, they are oral media.
Yes.
That's oral media. That was what Del Wilson called it oral media. He termed traditional media as oral media. And I've not heard there are arguments against that terminology. But with this, I think there's a need for me to go and read and find out if it is not supposed to be used that way for it. Is that fine?
Are you classifying oral and traditional as the same thing?
It's not oral. ORA. It doesn't have a L. Oral, not oral. It does not have a L. ORA, then media. It is traditional media, the indigenous media, storytelling in Africa, using the gong, to pass information.
It's used. Maybe you clarify us, better, because it's using gong to tell stories, to pass, to announce. Is it media?
It is. It depends on your interpretation or your perception about it. Before the transmission, if you remember, sir,
is it media or communication? Because
it is media. Media is a tool, it's a means of communication, a means of communicating.
Yeah.
And I'm talking
Yeah,
to you.
it is.
The medium is a use of his words.
Yeah.
You can hear me because we have a common language. I am speaking and I'm using that tool of oral communication to pass my message.
Is what I think, I might be wrong, but correct me if I'm wrong. And it's when you talk about media, you are talking about mediation, mediated platforms, mediated devices. So if I talk to you without probably a microphone, without a camera, I'm only communicating. I'm not, there's no media mediation between my communication and your communication. So that's why
You're talking about forms of communication.
I think
That's forms of communication.
Excuse me, guys. I think I'll give the grant to Professor Adeko. Raise your hand.
I was raising up my hand not to mediate.
Yeah, mediated now.
I'm trying to make you mediate. You are our father.
Personally, I would suggest to think of intermediarism. There is no medium, there is no intermediate. So don't bog yourself down in separation between this medium and that medium. Every medium is an intermediate. Even so-called oral medium also involves other medium. So think of intermediarism in that sense. But the latter question, I said I didn't want to mediate. What I found, the questions I have with him and also with Professor Maya, the last speaker, they go together. For him, my question for the last speaker, my question relates to commodification and pleasure. When we speak, it seems as if we are turning things around.
Yes.
That women are not commodified. Just because they benefit. You may want to make that argument clearly, but I would like to suggest that the idea of commodity you are talking about, a commodity does not normally participate in the market. So the moment a commodity is something that exchange, that's converted to value. What you see those people, they are actually participating. So you cannot call them commodity. So if you are to take out, my suspicion was that you are trying to read from the point of the female characters. That you are trying to understand things from the point of the female character. But to keep calling them commodity is to still be on the side of the male characters. Whereas the women themselves have become participants in the market.
She's the participant.
Which is the most, and that's what women are fighting for. That they do not want to be commodities in the market, they cannot participate. Because normally the paper doesn't participate in the market as a participant. You just exchange them. That's what I'll suggest. And also bring in a question of pleasure. Which connects to Dr. Naya's comment.
Yes.
To be uncommon and then enter hegemony, there must be some pleasure in it. You must, because it's inhuman for anyone, it's not human to always want to suffer pain consistently. To suffer pain, as I know we are learning and coming, and I know learning very well. You know that.
Yeah.
So So I'm trying to mediate learning now. Learning will perhaps say that when it comes to remain uncommon permanently, the hegemony will break you. If you are uncommon for a while and you enter the hegemony, that hegemony has incorporated you somehow. And for you to be incorporated by the hegemony, then you derive certain pleasure. Yes, you must start getting pleasure. So towards the end of his life, Olani will start moving towards pleasure. The idea of pleasure and the pleasant. As the pleasant and painful are not that far apart. So it's that question of pleasure, the question of pleasant, especially in the skits that you show. That we derive pleasure not just as viewers. Certain pleasure is going on within that skill itself that I want to draw attention to. Thank you.
Well, I mean, I agree with you, sir. Actually, where I'm reading the question of the common sense, it's a very good explanation of, the exposition of the whole thing. I was actually thinking what I'm trying to say is a lot of people don't see those kids as performing anything. A lot of people see them as, we're actually promoting moral corruption.
So what I'm trying to say, where the common sense, where I'm reading it, is that this guy's work. I didn't have time to, especially this time's work is performing a common function, and we're reading this thing, what society see differently, because a lot of people critique. And part of the question I asked, people say you are just teaching people immorality, whereas when you read what is read closely, it is a critique of the act, but people see it as an affirmation of the act. So this is where my idea of, confronting this thing, that's why I brought the colonial exchange. It's escalating this problem to show that men do this thing, in fact, exaggerating it. Like he said, he would, turn the name, he would start singing, he would do all sort of stuff that he would think, oh, everything is going to work. But of course, at the end, the men became losers. So that's my idea. But again, it's good to bring this angle to it. Thank you so much for the contribution. Okay. Yes.
Thank you so much, Prof. I appreciate the three presentations, fantastic. But I just have a kind of intervention for the first presenter. She discussed the significance of Lai Wasabi's skits. Of course, she tried so much by drawing the nexus between his skits and the society he belongs to. But I would like a situation where the presenter is able to amplify the social and cultural context that influenced Lai Wahabi's skits. You cannot put up a performance outside the social milieu or the social configuration you belong to. So let's see the influence of that social political milieu on his kids, and probably have an idea of the perceptions of those who listen to such, who enjoy.
So what why? So these responses are very, 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 very useful. Okay. Questions? Yes.
Thank you very much, sir. I also want to appreciate all the presenters. Sir, I don't know if my question is going to be out of context.
No, there's no
You were talking about common sense. And there was a time you made mention of a particular example about greeting the woman, especially in Yoruba land. The woman used to greet and the man prostrates.
Yeah.
So my own question now is, for instance, in the Igbos, they don't greet the way you pass.
Yes.
Like where I come from, I'm from Delta State, and so men they kneel to greet both men and women.
Yeah.
But when we come down here, there's a way you greet an elderly person that makes them say that you are rude, or you are not well brought up because you didn't greet the way they expect you to be. So can I say that it's common sense to accept people's greeting culture instead of calling them names?
Well, that would depend on, because some elders are set in their ways. How do you tell them that, oh, it's common sense because they don't do this? Let me give you an example. I know in the US where I work, I know someone, a professor, a